Hey guys, it's Kim. I am doing another video on saving my food that got thawed when my freezer died. And I am making a scrap vegetable soup. This broth here has all the scrap pieces from other recipes of any vegetables that I cut up, like onion and celery and carrot tops and tomato skins and tomato insides, and add a little bit of water, so it's bay leaf, and I cooked it all night. So that is the base of my broth. So I have that. I strained it and put it through my KitchenAid tomatoes thing so you get all the extra juice out. And now I'm over here sauteing up some vegetables to add to my soup. All right, in my pan over here I have onions, celery, carrot, and some cabbage that I had frozen. The onions, celery, and carrots are all fresh. The onions and the carrots are from the garden. The cabbage was frozen, and yes, I have used frozen cabbage many times. So I just sauteed it a little bit. Then to this, I am going to add my broth and start adding a few other things that were in my freezer and some of the things that I dehydrated to make this even more enriched vegetable heavy soup. So over here I have a bag of edamame that thawed. Normally I use that like in my salads and stuff, but I figured that'll add some protein. I have another bag that's still frozen, so I'm going to see how much of that I use. I have a bunch of corn that thawed, but I am going to be making a corn chowder later, so I might just add one, maybe 2 bags of that. Oh, I forgot, I added some garlic. And in my stash of dehydrated foods, I have kale and spinach and beet greens and actually lettuce and some zucchini. And if I need some extra tomatoes, you can see they're from a couple years ago, so I can still use those if I want some like tomato pieces in there. And then of course I'll add all the seasonings that I can think of to make it taste really good. So anyway, I'm going to get this soup going so that I can pressure can it and have that on my shelves as well. All right, for an everything vegetable soup, this turned out fantastic. It has, I found some dried zucchini I added to it, some dried chives in addition, and I just went through and looked to see if there's any other vegetables I could toss in there, but it's a nice, thick, hearty soup, and I know in the wintertime it's going to be a delicious lunch meal. While my vegetable soup is getting ready in the pressure canner, it's coming up to pressure, I have in this pan some onions, celery, and bell peppers because I'm going to make some corn chowder. It's not going to be a traditional corn chowder because I'm going to be using ham instead of bacon because I had some again in the freezer that needed to get used up. So I'm going to go ahead and saute these for a minute, and I'm going to add a good 5 to 6 cloves of garlic to this before I start adding my other ingredients. All right, so I added what was left in my other jar of pre-minced garlic, and I'm going to just add a couple of good heaping spoonfuls here. Get that out of the way. The next thing I'm going to add is my potatoes. Now I peeled these and I rinsed them off quite well and let them soak in cold water for a while to get rid of some of the extra starches in them. And I'm just going to saute these up for a minute, let everything get up just a tiny bit softened before I add my corn and my seasonings. Now, while I was letting the potatoes soak, I opened up all of my corn that I had previously frozen, taken all that time to vacuum seal, and I have about 7 cups of corn. This was 5 fair-sized potatoes. I'd say, you know, a little bit smaller than a restaurant baking potato, but larger than, you know, a medium. So I'd say kind of a large potato. So I'm going to let these come together for just a minute. Just get those stirred up. And to that I'm going to add a teaspoon of paprika. Since I just used my teaspoon to do garlic, I'm going to do 2 half teaspoons of paprika. Adds a little bit of color and some nice flavor. I think smoked paprika would be really good in this. I should have thought and grabbed that one instead. Stir that in for a minute. I'm not going to take this too far because my pressure canner, it's going to take some time until that's done. I have to cook vegetable soup for 55 minutes, and it just started a few minutes ago. All right, and the next thing I'm going to add is all of my corn. I hope this pan is big enough. Should be, but if not, I'll have to switch to my taller soup stock pot. Just want to get all of my corn in there. So at least my corn won't go to waste since it all thawed out. Take a little bit out, my bird will like that, so she loves corn. Stir this together. I'm going to add a little pepper, and I'm going to wait on the salt because I'm going to be adding some ham. And I like to salt it once I know, and my broth was salted very well, so I'm not going to add any salt to it, but you could add if you need it. I don't think I will need it at all. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to add, now this is turkey stock that I had made already. It's a little congealed here, so I'm going to have to scoop it out. And it does have some clear gel in it because I used that for some of my previous recipes because I wanted kind of a gravy type consistency. It's not going to be really gravy-ish, but it'll be close. It'll be a little bit thicker. And I do like my soups quite thick. Now, I can always thin this down if I need to with water or more stock. So I'm going to let that melt in there. This is a half-gallon jar that I had left over. Start with that, and if I need to add, I will. And this is also, I guess it's probably closer to a bone broth because I used all of my chicken bones to make stock that had meat on them, and then I took all the meat off and I put the bones back in there and let them go another 24 hours so that they would be, even my broth congeals up pretty similar to this, with or without the clear gel. But of course that's only when it's cold. Alright, I think I'm going to transfer this. I'm going to put my ham in here and see if I need to transfer it to my bigger pot. I don't think so. But I need to bring this up to temperature. I'm going to do that very slowly since I won't have my canner for a little bit. And then we'll get it in jars and get that pressure canned as well. Alright, well I have all of my soup done. I did 9 vegetable and 11 of the corn, potato, and ham chowder. So that's another, 20 jars of soup. And we had some of the chicken marsala for dinner. It turned out wonderful. I had a jar that did not seal, so it was perfect for dinner. All I had to do was make some rice to go with it. And I have one last thing I'm canning tonight, and that is the corn salsa and the corn and peach salsa that I had made previously, and of course it was frozen. Since this is a made-up recipe by me, what I did was I kind of followed a peach salsa recipe, added a little vinegar and some honey, but it still wasn't enough, and I did not want to add a whole lot of sugar to it. So I'm just going to can this at 55 minutes for pints like you would corn, and then it should be safe because corn is the longest processing item here. I don't know how many have half pints left, maybe 1 or 2 pints, but I prefer them in half pints since it's usually just me eating it. And that should be done. The only thing I know I have left, I have to make some more pasta sauce, and I have some apple juice, I believe, in the refrigerator. And I want to make some grape jelly, but that's already canned. So if worst comes to worst, I might just can up the apple juice for now so I don't have to worry about it going bad. But this is going to be the last thing I do tonight. It's already starting to get dark, and I've been at this now for about 9 hours today. All right, my last save of the freezer is in the canner right now. And I'm finally able to start to put my kitchen back together. I've got a little over a half hour to continue to babysit my canner. But I am doing a complete inventory of everything I did and everything I still have. So you can see I have most things taken out of my cabinets so that I could put them back. I still have that one to do, and that's going to wait. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in a way that I rotate through everything. For example, I'm going to put in a row. I'll do like chili and turkey soup and hamburgers and, you know, beef soup and turkey enchilada mix and some of the, you know, marsala and stuff. And I'll line them up in the cabinets so that as I use them, I go down the row and I'll be able to rotate through things. Some things I still have from last year and even the year before. So I want to make sure those are at the front of the list.